Oh boy, where do I begin? So, how do we review 2.8 so far? There's just so much to talk about, but I think the reason, and as you've all have probably noticed a couple of days where I haven't really been active and so on, is that I've been honestly taking way too many Kokomi pictures in the new event. This event has got so many good scenes and locations. Like, you look forward to some really awesome intros and outros in the future videos because I took a lot. And for those of you that know how obsessed I am with Kokomi, you know that I take at least 500 screenshots until I get the perfect one. So I've definitely been taking my time playing the events and so on, but I finally got through all of the major stories. And honestly, I think this is, for me, without a doubt, probably the best event in Genshin Impact so far. I think this is even better than the previous islands and so on. So the previous 1.6 patch was all about introducing you to the archipelago. The content was the different islands and the little mini puzzles and conscious that you had to get and so on. And I think what's so cool about this event is that it is character driven. This is the thing that we saw they did right in 2.7 with the sort of story quest and so on. And here we finally got to see no NPCs, no Madam Ping, no one irritating us. What we got to see is an interaction between the different cast members and more of their stories, and that I think was really, really well done. And none of it actually felt too overly burdensome. You could very much see the different characters, the different points in their lives regarding like their personal growth. So characters like Shinyan and Kazuha were like a lot more settled. You can see they were very much more on the side of contentment, having dealt with their past issues, and this is just much more of a mirage that just is a reflection of their current state and how they have handled things in the past and their growth and so on. Obviously, for Fischl, this was about her going through a transformation, which was really awesome to see. And then I think a lot of the people like myself that are a bit older than you guys, I mean, most of the people on that watch my channel and what do and look at Genshin are like between 17 and 24. So for those of us that are like slightly older and so on, the sort of philosophical things that Mona actually sort of implied and hinted at were like really, really awesome. So I did enjoy sort of her story quest a bit more, but I must say Fischl's one from a theatrical perspective was like probably the most enjoyable. And I think it's not only just the story quest, but also the environments. And this is what I'm sort of showing you in the background, from like the very deep like purples, which I just love so much in Fischl's castle, to like the bright reds of Xinyan's domain. I felt like the environments were very, very fresh. It almost felt like when I had to log in today and go into Teyvat just felt like, ugh, it just felt icky until I got into one of these beautiful domains again, and then it just felt, yeah, refreshing. That's what we want. That is what we really, really needed so long. And I think this is the thing about Genshin Impact, just creating a new environment that can just take us out of the typical Teyvat sort of headspace, and you're just now in a castle, and suddenly you've got all these cool mirage little sort of little puzzles, like perception puzzles to do. I just really, really like it. And then you've got the very much the verticality, the different scenes in Fischl's sort of castle. So the first one was very royal and bubbly, and it became like a bit more like foggy and uncertain, like in the second half. And then this third half, you can see is much more darker in terms of the background and so on. It's just, I don't know, it's just really, really, really good from my perspective. And this gives me quite a lot of hope that in the future, when they do a Kokomi sort of like event where you deep dive into the ocean, where you're walking between the coral reefs, or like, you know, something really, really cool. I think a very nice character driven sort of story with Kokomi and perhaps even other cast members would be like really, really cool, like they've sort of done here. And I do know that a lot of us like have like complained that look, they sort of did Kokomi very dirty in terms of the story and so on, and this is their chance to redeem it and give us like more of the relationships between Kokomi and a lot of the other characters and so on. I think that would be so, so cool and definitely much needed. I do also feel like a lot of the other cast members, so for instance, if you think of characters like Kaya, the Luke, Jean, a lot of these characters haven't been featured like in a very, very long while. So whilst we're complaining about Kokomi, we must also like be honest, like there's a lot of characters, like think of Razor for instance, that no one's even really talked about. So definitely Hoyoverse should do way more of these types of events and just sort of do the entire cast justice instead of creating just more and more and more new characters, in which case you'll just get more neglect, which is I think one of my biggest worries in terms of the game. Now, the final thing that I sort of want to do in this sort of just overview of the archipelago is just talk a bit about the enemies. So I felt like the enemy difficulty level was just too easy. I do hope in the future they give us the option to have level 100 enemies, and for instance in a lot of these domains just the ability, without any additional rewards of course, but just the ability to tone up or like sort of increase the combat difficulty. So level 100 enemies with like 2.5 times their usual max health, and in the abyss it's like 1.5 times or whatever. That'll be really, really cool. I would really, really enjoy it from my perspective, because it is very easy, you can imagine, for someone like me to clear the content and so on. I just literally just use Kokomi and solo everything, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that would be like my only real big complaint. So what did we get in this update? Well, we've got islands that, like in 1.6, were very sort of barren, and they got very much more colorful as you progress throughout the story. I really liked seeing it. The islands now feel very much alive. I think Hoyoverse did a great job at sort of now finally we're getting a bit of value for our money that we sort of put into the game and sort of spent. I do wish they would stop doing other projects and actually just focus on Genshin and give us more skins. There's no reason why we couldn't get like a lot more skins, at least for all of the main characters in the story and so on. But yeah, for all the negatives, I must say 2.8 has certainly been a very big positive for me. And especially because of the fact that I could take a bazillion Kokomi pictures. You guys know me. Alright, thanks for watching and cheers.